Hey everyone, welcome back. I have another golf ball review for you today, and we are continuing on the OnCore line. Today going in with the Vero X1. Let's dive in. Okay, so I have actually reviewed this golf ball before. I just reviewed it a couple years ago. It definitely needs an update. You know, we have a new launch monitor, we have new clubs, there's a lot of new stuff. We also have a bunch of additional data as well, so we want to compare this to what we have been doing over the past year to see how good actually is this golf ball, because when I tested it before, I thought it was pretty well, but again, you know, the dynamics had changed, the variables had changed, so we want to see now that I've tested so many more golf balls, does it still hold up, does it still hold in that category with the others? Now, OnCore is a direct-to-consumer line. They've been in the game for quite a few years. I love what they do. They have a bunch of good golf balls, and they are expanding like crazy. You know, for the longest time, it was the Avant 55, and then it was the Elixir, and that was really all they had. Then all of a sudden, they released the Vero X1, then they released the Vero X2, and now they have a Vero XP. Yes, Vero XP is what it's called, and I'm not sure when that's dropping, but it will be dropping eventually, but it's kind of a new design. So OnCore has been trying to refresh, you know, experiment, make new golf balls, try to cater to more different players, which is a good thing. You want different golf balls for different players. We don't all need to be using the same one. Every swing speed's different. Everyone kind of requires a little bit different from what they want from a golf ball, and so I give them credit for actually trying to do that, for taking swings and misses and kind of experimenting and saying, hey, what works, what doesn't. So when it comes to the OnCore Vero X1, it's an 85 compression golf ball, and it does actually say on the website that this golf ball is intended for 100 plus mile-an-hour swing speed. So that already tells me from the get-go, I swing about 92, 93. It tells me that the golf ball really isn't intended for me. So what that means is, even though yes, I'm going to continue to review this golf ball, we're going to find out if it works for the average swing speed. I expect it to spin a lot more. I expect it to be more tour ball-like-ish, especially with the price point it comes in at, which is $40 a dozen. In the shipping, you do have to account for $8 as well, which means they're going to almost be $50 a dozen unless you join OnCore's premium plan, which I talked about on the Avant 55 review. Basically, you know, OnCore allows you to join a yearly membership or subscription to get free shipping, which is not really free at that point, but then also to get additional discounts, deals, stuff like that. So I do kind of have to take it at face value. Let's just say it's around $40 to $45 a dozen for the sake. That's going to be a value tour ball grade when it comes to the price point compared to other stuff. The TaylorMade Tour Response, the Strixon balls are around that as well, maybe just a couple dollars more. So it's going to be around that type of price point. All right, so real quick, let's get into the design of the golf ball. Looking at the logo, OnCore does have a really cool logo, and I do like on how their premium golf balls, they just keep it all black. It looks a little bit more professional. Reminds me kind of like what Wilson does. Going around on the side, though, I will admit this alignment tool does not do itself any favors. I'm a guy who really likes a good alignment tool. It's one of the things I grade golf balls on the channel. And the problem I have with this one is the bar itself isn't bad. It's just that the lettering and then the X is disproportionate. It makes it very difficult to line up a putt, because when you look at it over the center, you can kind of see the bar. It's not bad, but all that other stuff is disproportioned, and it would throw me off. It's a very basic design. It does feel premium. It does look premium. It actually, I mean, for paying this much for a golf ball, it does look like it's supposed to. So it pretty much checks most of the boxes. Other than that, it's circle, it's got dimples, it's ready to rock and roll. So let's get out to the chipping and putting green. Let's see how we did out there. Okay, so a little strange here. So first of all, I would have expected, you know, this being more one of the premier higher lines, I expected it to have a little bit more spin, a little bit more checkup. And it actually is kind of disappointing a little bit. Now, when I say disappointing, I don't mean like as far as the overall performance. I just mean I expected to have quite a bit of checkup. I expected it to be something that kind of maybe not stops on a dime, but at least has some chug, some pullback. Not really the case here. Even on a couple chips where I really thought I caught it great, I just didn't see a lot of, pullback. It actually hit and released pretty firm and still had a lot of distance. Not quite as much a distance as like the Avante 55, two-piece golf balls and stuff like that, but still, I would expect it to be like, you know, somewhere out in the 7 or 8 out of 10 on the chart, and it actually ends up being around 4 or 5. So it's a little disappointing in the regard that if you're buying this golf ball and you want that checkup around the green, it might not be as much as you normally are used to having or how much you're looking to get. Now, I will say that once you get a little off the green and you're doing more of pitching, 20 yards, 15 yards, 30 yards, stuff like that, the golf ball is going to spin fine. At that point, you're actually able to get through and compress it. That also could mean I'm not compressing the golf ball well enough to get it to spin, which is an option too. It happens on 4-piece golf balls all the time. So might keep that in mind as well. Now, as far as the feel goes, it actually feels pretty decent. I have no complaints about the feel, but there is a click. If a click bothers you, then you might not like it. It definitely, I can hear it. I like it for the feedback. It tells me I hit it really well. But if you're someone who likes a more subdued dead ball, you're not going to like it. You can definitely hear it, but it feels good. It feels soft. It feels balanced right there in the middle as far as that goes off the wedge. But you know, if you're afraid of a little noise, then you might be turned off. Oh, come on, back door. Ah! Ladies and gentlemen, I was feeling good about that one. Let's go again real quick. Come on now. Oh yeah, get in there, get in there, get in there. Woo! I knew it, I knew I had it. Take two. Not bad. Come on now, come back, come back. Ah, couldn't get to come back. It's not a bad putt, I'll take it. Okay, so couple things. First of all, when we start with the feel, as far as the feel goes, I gotta say I was pretty impressed. It actually is really silent. It allows the feedback to be in the feel of the club, not in the sound of it. So if you're someone who doesn't like any click whatsoever, this is less than a whisper. It's almost like a muted whisper. It is just really soft and buttery off the putter. The feel is really fantastic. I mean, I actually like a little click, but even I was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, you got that for me? It's been a while since I've had a golf ball like that. Now, as far as the actual true roll of the golf ball, whether it has a true roll, kind of. It has a passing grade, but just barely. Initially, when you do hit it with the putter, now keep in mind I have a mallet putter. If you have a blade, this could be slightly different. It actually probably might roll a little more true. But with the mallet, I was getting a lot of bounce to the ounce. So initially, it was coming off the putter pretty hot and then having that little bit of chug. It's not enough to really derail. And like I said, it is passable, but boy, not by much. If it had a little bit more, I'd probably be saying stay away. But it actually does pass okay, and for the most part has a pretty good true roll. And it's funny because it actually goes a little faster and has a little bit more bounce than the Avante 55, their 2-piece golf ball had. So I wouldn't have guessed that. If I had been a betting man, I would have lost some money. So overall, I would say, you know, some bright spots, has a really good feel. I love the way it comes off the clubs. Wish it had had a little bit more spin, of course, and I wish it had a little bit truer of a roll. But for the most part, it's a pretty, I mean, you know, it's a 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5, somewhere in there as far as the greenside performance, which is passable for a golf ball if the numbers in the next segment hold up really well. So let's find out about that. Yeah, when it comes to the feel of this golf ball, it does have some spring to it, but you can definitely tell it's on the firmer side. It's definitely not popping off the club like some of OnCore's other golf balls have, especially not like their 2-piece golf ball. You can definitely feel a little bit more weight behind this one. That's definitely going to be the 4 layers. So we'll see. Usually with golf balls like this that are 4-layer meant for faster swing speeds, I usually just don't compress them with the short clubs. I don't compress them with the medium clubs. And then once I get into the hybrid and the driver, I usually do pretty well because at that point I'm compressing the golf ball a lot better. So let's see if that's the case. Let's dive into the 9-iron. We've got 92 mile an hour swing ball speed, which is actually above my average, pretty good. 9-iron distance, 128.1. I gained 3 yards. That's awesome. 2.5, excuse me. 121.7, 23.5. So it actually launched just slightly above mid. Those numbers aren't bad, actually. I mean, they're not blowing me away, but again, like I just said, I expect usually the 9-iron to not compress as well. It's a lot shorter. Usually it's a little bit firmer. Usually I expect a little bit of a loss there. Anytime I play a TP5, a Pro V1, I usually get like 88 miles an hour, 86 miles an hour. There's usually a big hit. So seeing this actually at a gain of distance and gain of mile per hour, that's actually off to a really good start. Let's see if it continues here with the 7-iron. So let's start with the spin first, which is 6,933. Now that's exactly what I would expect with a golf ball like this. I expect it to spin more, and that's really, really good. That's going to stop on a dime, and that's even going to come back at you a little bit. 109.6, I love that. That's a gain in distance. 163.4, I gained distance. 152.8, another gain in distance. And this launched pretty high, 19.5. That actually launched a whole degree higher than my average. So I definitely didn't expect that. But again, those numbers are really good considering how firm it is, considering it's more of a tour line golf ball. Usually with an average swing speed, the numbers get a little less impressive at that point. So now I'm actually really excited to see how this golf ball does with the woods. Maybe I'll actually gain quite a bit of distance. So starting with the 5 hybrid, Getting into the spin, 4,683. Again, that's really phenomenal. That's going to actually stop on a green with my hybrid. It might even come back just a tad. That's phenomenal. 119.4, really good number there. I love that. Again, a gain of distance. 195.6, I gained 3 yards. 182.2, gained, actually, that's pretty good, about 4 or 5 yards. 16.1 on the launch, which again is high. So it's actually launching very high for a mid-swing speed. Now, I think that it's actually supposed to launch lower, if I remember correctly. I think it's just a matter of if you're not able to put the swing speed the golf ball's designed for, I think that it ends up coming off differently. I've had that happen with a couple golf balls in the past. That seems to be the case here. Because I'm not compressing it all the way 100%, I think I'm getting a little extra height than I should be, and that's why it's coming off high opposed to low. But if you have 100+ mile-an-hour swing speed, I think this is going to launch a lot lower. That's what it's intended to do. Unfortunately, I just don't have a way to test that at the moment. And last but not least, getting into the driver. So 238.8 and, ooh, okay, a little bit of a loss there. 131.8, I lost there. 217.7, I lost about 5 yards. And then 15.3, I lost a little bit there as well. And then, of course, looking at the spin, actually, it was 28.05, so it wasn't spinning too much. That's definitely not the issue. So I'm not really sure what happened with the driver there, to be honest with you. I'm a little disappointed. A firmer golf ball like this, I would have expected. We were on such a great path. We were, gaining, and then we lost for some reason, and I don't know why. I mean, based on my numbers, I wasn't really mishitting it. They were hitting pretty well. It just, for some reason, wasn't getting the distance I wanted. So interesting there. Before I get into my final thoughts, I do want to touch on the durability real quick. Looking at this golf ball, it's going to look kind of nasty. I didn't get the chance to wash it, so you're going to see black marks from where I hit the bar. You're going to see, some scrapes, scuffs, stuff like that. However, I will say that when you feel the golf ball, that's not the case. This actually holds up pretty well. I would say like a 4.5 out of 5. It still feels really premium. It feels really smooth. The urethane coating is a really good blessing on there because it's protecting the golf ball, and I would still feel comfortable putting with this after 50, 60 shots. I got to say, that's really, really impressive. I know it doesn't look like it from the pictures because I didn't get it washed, but I assure you it feels really good. I would trust this golf ball. So really impressed with the durability there. All right, so now kind of getting into the conclusion, who's the golf ball for? Well, I gotta say, this one kind of took a weird left turn all of a sudden. I expected the golf ball to not be great from the beginning. I expected it to really perform when we got to the end. I expected it to be exclusively for faster swingers, and all that got kind of jumbled. So I would say that if you are at 95 mile an hour or greater, the golf ball works for you absolutely. Could you technically get away using it at a 90 to 95? You could, but the driver numbers concern me because if you're gonna lose, distance with the driver, I don't think it's worth it. I think there's other golf balls on this channel that are cheaper, more forgiving, and also would gain you distance opposed to lose it. So with that being said, if you are, in that 95, 100, and plus range, I do like the golf ball. I like what it does. I like how it feels. I like that it's direct to consumer. I like, it's different. It really is. It plays different. It hits different. It feels different. Everything was a gain of 3 yards exactly. And then not only that, but the launch angles, were really, high and consistent every single time. It was a very consistent golf ball. And the forgiveness, although it wasn't perfect, was pretty good for a 4-piece golf ball. So, and it felt really springy too, which you don't see a lot of the time. Usually these feel a lot firmer. So like I said, there's a lot of good things to build on here. Unfortunately, because I am just an average swinger, that's all I can test it for. And I would say if you're an average swinger, you probably need to stay away. Now, if you're a faster swinger, on the other hand, it's definitely probably worth a shot for sure. My only concern would be that there are a lot of golf balls in this price range that are easier to get access to that I think perform a lot better. Again, I bring it up, but the TaylorMade Tour Response is the prime one that comes to my head because I'm thinking, okay, you can get it for $42, $43 a dozen. You can go to Walmart, you can go to a retail store, just pick up a box. You don't have to worry about the $48, $8 shipping, $40 for the retail, and then wait for it to come to you. I think it's a lot more simpler to do that. And then even with the Strixons, like your Z-Star, I think those are $45, $46 now. But again, that's less than the $48 it would be with shipping. So you could just go grab a box, and I think those perform better as well. So it's a really good ball. I like it. Unfortunately, it's just going to fall in that middle ground because there's better options out there. Guys, as always, keep watching and keep saving and keep learning. Until next time.